Oh, River.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, sweet River. How are you, my love?
I am here.
Yeah, I know. Um, by the way, I am like beyond obsessed with this woman that you connected us with. Like her
Mm,
writing, her story. I this is why we created the podcast for these humaning moments that we are going to be able to share with this beautiful pod community that is slowly growing.
hmm
So I love that you found Gila Melamed, and this beautiful Gila. Can you tell the audience, you're going to tell me um, your story and what you're doing now and who you are and God, where you came from, because you're freaking amazing.
Okay. Well, hi, and thank you for having me. And please, I'm not too many compliments. I don't know how to take them.
Okay, well, we'll stick to the stories.
Okay. Um, so, well, where do we start? I mean, the thing is like, if you ask me a year ago the same question, I will give you a totally different answer.
Mm.
I've been on the most amazing journey the last year. I just came back 2 weeks ago, and already things are, and I will tell you soon, like the excitement things are happening. Um, so let's see, let's start with the simple things. I'm a mother of two adult young men.
Hmm.
I'm happily divorced and dating myself and having a wonderful time.
Mm.
Um, let's see, I'm a color designer. I'm an artist. And organically, as I was doing a lot of color consultation, it became to home design. So that is my profession. Uh, and last year, I packed my car. I converted my Mazda CX-5 to a micro camper. I'm only 4'11", so I really took advantage of my size. And I lived a year in my car. And it was the most amazing, amazing journey, more than anything I could dream of. Um, I knew I'm going to like it. I mean, I always love hiking. This is my passion. Camping, it was always, but I would say 3 weeks, 4 weeks into it, I just like, oh my God, I just love, love, love it. And the interesting, the more I need to rough it, the more I need to provide myself the everything, the happier I am. You know,
Mm.
the less I have, it just
It's funny how
I
it works that way, right? That the smaller you create your living environment and and sort of the stuff, right? Like
yeah.
the boxes we live in, like the more we get tiny, the bigger our world actually gets.
Yeah, yeah. I just went through my belonging and I donated like so many stuff that I'm actually was surprised how much stuff I have. I mean, like I'm calling it junk at this point because even though some of them are brand new clothes, I don't need them. I just really don't need them. I was able, and I was so happy with just three pair of pants, a
Mm.
few shirts and three shoes, pair of shoes. That was it.
You're
And
living that minimalist life.
yes, yes, it fit me so well. I just really don't need it all. Mm.
I mean, and
Wow.
so River, where did you end up finding Gila originally? What group on
So,
Facebook?
we are actually, I looked, we're in a couple of the same camping, car camping and hiking, solo traveler, female traveler Facebook groups. And
Oh, that's
I can't
perfect.
remember which one I saw your post in first because I've seen it in a couple different spots now, but I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw some posts coming up from these solo female traveler groups, and your post popped up and you shared such a vulnerable, beautiful, eloquently written story about what started you on your process of becoming who you are today and traveling and getting out hiking and journeying and ultimately leading to this journey that you've been on this last year. And um, you also shared so vulnerably about your own life experience as a mother and some mental health struggles. And it just resonated so deeply for me, not only as a solo female traveler, but as a mother and someone who has also worked through mental health. And so when I saw it, I was in tears and I just had to start reading through all of your posts because the way that you put them together with your storytelling, and then you take pictures of all the places that you're traveling, and you're so detailed about sharing what it is that you're seeing and experiencing, and it spoke so deeply to me, and I just knew right away I had to reach out and connect with you.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
I mean, the way that that post starts with, I chose life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where were you? What I know there's an image in that post, but where were you? Was that day one?
For me,
To like that post, was that like day one to your
oh
new
no, that was
experience?
pretty much almost the end of it.
Wow.
That was almost the end. That was like maybe 3 weeks before I got home. So first of all, just so you know, writing is very new to me. I
Mm.
never did that before.
Well, you need to do more of it.
Okay, so it's all before I left, some of my friends asked me to blog, and I was like, me? I mean, English is not my first language, Hebrew is. And I have to say, I'm actually have learning disabilities and I'm dyslexic. So writing is like not something that was even like
Hmm.
occurred to me that I can do. I am an artist. I mean,
Yeah,
that
awesome.
I'm more and more finding a lot of creative outlet that I have, and that's turned out to be one of them. But I had a very and that I cannot explain why. I had a very strong, I don't want to say urge, but it was
A
not urge,
nudge.
like
She
almost
had one
something
of your
bigger than me
nudges.
to want to share my story. And I have to say, one of the reasons I am on that journey is because of the other stories that inspired me. And one of
Hmm.
the biggest one was the by Cheryl Stray Wild. I always wanted to backpack, but it's like terrifying me just the idea. I just like I will freeze just from the thought. And after I read her book, and I was able to connect on so many levels with her. I lost my mom when I was 17.
Hmm.
So I knew her pain, and she wrote it so beautifully. I felt I was hiking with her. And after she finished, I was like, that's it, I'm doing it. And I read, I exercised, I bought equipment, I trained, and I drove 6 hours to New Hampshire to the White Mountains.
Hmm.
And, that first day having my home on my back and taking a trail I never been by myself in a place I never been, like terrain that I never experienced. Wow, the empowerment that gave me was beyond anything I can. So I just wanted to give back really what was given to me.
That's
You
so
know,
powerful because I know
it's
for myself, becoming a solo female traveler, it comes with so many fears and so many
Mhm.
narratives around danger, safety, all of that. And it can be a really terrifying thing to
Yeah.
embark on. So can you tell us a little bit about how that first experience was for you? What
Well,
was
first
that
of all,
like?
you need to know that probably like a month before that. So I'm renting my apartment to support that. Okay. I'm not a white rich woman, traveling. Not at all. I'm on a very tight budget.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm very simple. So it's really working for me. And when I was renting my apartment, we went through application and I knew that I cannot back off. Like, I have like a wonderful tenant and I know I cannot do that to her. I cannot, but I'm assuming that's what a panic attack feel like. Every night I was like terrified, absolutely terrified.
hmm.
I remember talking with my son, my youngest one, Ron, and I said, Ron, you make sure that I'm on that road, that I am not backing off on it. I was absolutely terrified. I mean, you ask my friend, I mean, like even the end of the first week, even, I remember it like yesterday. It was still in the Blue Ridge in North Carolina, I think it was, but there, and I woke up, it was very cold morning and I was very uncomfortable and very cold. And, there was a thought, what I'm doing. I'm actually, and the realization that it's hit me. I am not on vacation.
Mm.
This is a lifestyle that I'm choosing to live.
Right.
And the moment I had that kind of realization, the moment I had to be able to shift my thinking and my approach, things calmed down a bit. But I was still had like, I was still the first 3 months, there was a lot of things that were like, I had to adjust. Today, I'm driving different places. It doesn't even think about it. But the beginning, it was definitely an adjustment. But I learned in life that every time I push myself just a little bit further, the more I'm getting myself out of my comfort zone, the more I'm getting stronger, and the more it's easy for me to deal with the situation. And so I just push going, and I'm just being in nature. I couldn't, and for
So
me,
healing.
it's that the best. It's just the best.
It really is. I have to keep going back to this post because is it okay if I read a little bit
Yes.
from? Okay.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I think I'll just start. For many months, I have debated whether I am strong enough to share the most vulnerable and dark time in my life. As I get closer to home, I understand it is in my integrity to do so. And so for many years during my marriage, I struggled with suicidal thoughts. My biggest challenge was keeping myself alive. Hiking with my dog was my lifesaver, mine too. My own pain from losing my mom at an early age allowed me to focus on my responsibilities as a mother to my two babies. I just didn't want to put their names in here, but I just for the sake of whatever, but what were some of the challenges for you emotionally at that moment, going through this part of your marriage and realizing the aha moments of I need to get out of this without obviously, in your own words, of course.
Well, unfortunately, my ex-husband chose to do two things that really were very extremely hurtful. One was very traumatic for me. And I shut down. I really shut down. I did not speak to no one, and I'm an open person. I'm very upfront, but that part of my life, I just couldn't share. It was not being ashamed, because I know it was not me. But I just shut down, totally shut down. I did not even share some of it with my therapist. I really only the day that I left the home, I confronted my husband back. It was my husband, and only then I was starting to able to share with my closest friend. But I felt that I was always on out of mode, just surviving, just keeping things as as much as I can, and it was tough. It's very hard for me to to try to go back to that time. It was very, very challenging. It's
How long
especially when I thought, that it was something in my brain, that is something is like in balance. If I knew back then that this is something as a result of the person that was supposed to be there for me and not, I will react differently, but I was not aware of that. And unfortunately, it's
we
because I
don't,
didn't talk.
right. I mean, we don't say I do to say goodbye, right?
Yeah, no,
We come in with all the
I
right,
committed myself.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes,
And it
yes,
just takes sometimes a journey. It's a journey.
yes.
And then with kids, I mean, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that a lot of people never know. How long were you married before you walked in on that day where after you were talking to your therapist, right? And you're like, and then you walked in and you're like, I want a divorce. How long were
Yes.
you
No,
married
it was really
that
that.
day?
So we were together for like 30 years.
Oh
We were married, I think 21 years, but we lived like a married couple. We really just had to wait for the green card situation so we advised not to get married until the green card situation was more suitable for us. But we lived the married life like pretty much like 2 months after we stopped dating. So yes, and go back to your questions, please.
I think, you know, the thing that kept coming to me with your journey and from this one post that blows me away is that I love how there were times over this last year that it took your breath away. And I just want to know
Mhm.
what, you know, a few stops along the way that really took your breath.
Yes. So, like I get that question so many times. What was your favorite place? And I
Mhm.
think very quickly through to my journey, I realized that if I choose a favorite, I'm cheating myself from the experience.
Mm.
I didn't want there. First of all, they're so different. There is no one that was like alike. There is none. So I called them. There's definitely places that stole my heart. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Zion in the winter was,
Oh,
I mean, I remember
that's
like driving, taking
cool.
a left, I think it was left to Route 9, and like I was just like in my car, like, oh my God, wow. Like it just really literally took my breath. Um, what else? The Oregon coast is just
Mm.
amazing. Hiking down the Grand Canyon in the winter was
Mhm.
like, the Smoky Mountains, and then the lift change, like the foliage was like stunning. Canada was like, absolutely. I fell in love with Canada. Absolutely fell in love. Glacier National Park was like amazing. I'm really, there is like so many of them. That was like just amazing, 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 amazing.
You know, River, it's like one of these things where bring like you know, like the whole sparking joy thing. And then also on that same level is this moment of awe in our life where
Mhm.
we are all just, and especially America, like we are just to the grindstone. Everything is about job, 40 hours a week, and like and how we lose those moments of awe. And I think Gila, I think beyond the fact that your story is so deeply human and there's so much pain in that first part of your journey, but the fact that you hit the road with a an awe like a childlike nature, right, of seeing things for the first time and leaning into like the beauty that's present. And I think that's the one thing that I love about road trips and traveling on my own is sometimes those solo adventures, there's no one to distract you from just being
Mhm.
in your awe or
Yeah,
allow or being so present, you know,
Mhm.
with the lines of the road and what's to the left and what's to the right of us.
yeah.
And furthermore, like not just even the nature aspect, but when you are solo traveling, you do encounter other people and you meet so many incredible people and hear their stories along the way and form new friendships. Absolutely. But your relationship with yourself changes so
Mm,
deeply. And
Mhm.
you have to learn yourself in some really new ways,
Yeah.
taking care of yourself, coming into obstacles. If your car breaks down, there's so many things that can happen when you're solo traveling that forces you to really become your own best friend and be your own best support. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, and sometimes really scary thing.
Well, I also knew that, well, the idea was like to feed to my adventurous soul. That was the idea at the first. But the closer I got to leaving, I realized it was more also like a healing journey. I
mhm,
was still carrying a lot of anger in me that I don't want to carry.
Mm.
It's not who I am,
mhm,
and it's my responsibility to let it go, no
mhm,
one else. And having that space to
mhm,
myself was, uh, that's all I needed, and I couldn't do it, living our everyday life and trying to support myself here and then work and things. I needed to do what I that year, and I actually came to a place where I have a compassion toward my dad and my ex-husband, something I never in my life dream I can even came. It was a journey. It was in Sedona. I still remember that time I knew I am stuck And I didn't, it was already that weight was too heavy on me. I just didn't want to carry it anymore. And I knew I need to do something more than what I'm doing so far. The last 3 years, I've been listening a lot and reading Brené Brown. She's been giving me a lot of tools and understanding of how I feel. So I was taking that. And I met Ramona. She's another solo traveler back in Texas. And we had a walk on the beach, and it was very, very, again, the connection was right on. And we were sharing our stories, and I remember she was sharing her part of forgiveness and compassion. And I remember thinking to my head, like, lady, I don't know what you're talking about. This is not even, I'm not even there. And then I get to Sedona, there's a snowstorm. I need to take a cabin in a campground. I cannot, stay in my car. And it's dark, and it's, very lonely. And she mentioned Pema Chadron, and I'm like, you know what? I start listening to When Life Fall Apart.
Oh, love her
And
stuff.
just a lot of those things, just, the combination of everything really pushed me to start looking, what is a forgiveness? It's obvious that I was thinking it wrong. What about it? And since it was, I couldn't really go hiking. It was, I went to the library, start reading, start educating myself more and more about what is forgiveness. And really in 2 weeks, I came to understanding that both my dad and my ex-husband, unfortunately, and I don't like to use that word because I refuse to be a victim, but unfortunately there was a victim here. And but it was not coming from a place of hurting me. It was coming from a place of them so hurt and so have their own pain that unfortunately I was kind of the easy target to do that. The moment I understood that part, I was able to frame them in a much more human frame. I still don't want nothing to do with either of them. And I don't want them in my life, but I am in a better place. There is almost like half of my weight is gone.
Finding forgiveness and gratitude is probably one of the most heart strengthening things that we can do for ourselves. Like, it's just the fact that you got there, though, in one of my favorite places, Sedona, is it definitely makes me very happy. The other thing that was coming to me is, have you heard the book Florence Williams, Heartbreak? Have you that come across? Okay. Florence Williams, just real quick, and I'll put it in the show notes, but she was a bigwig at REI and healed through her divorce, very much like you, through being outdoors.
Yeah.
And that nature absolutely can heal you. What in my mind is like, why nature for you? Have you always been a nature lover? Okay. And it just resonated for you to do this journey. And I'm curious, what did the kids think? Were they like, Mom, you're losing your mind?
No.
Or were they like, please just make sure you call us every day so we know you're alive?
No, they were cheering me from the beginning. They know very much, like, the adventures of me, and so no, it was always like a good support from both of them. Not worry at all.
Support.
My friend here were some of them were worried. So I got the InReach Mini to let them know when I'm off service, to pin where I am, so everyone is and a lot of some of my friends are following my phone, and so they know where I am. So it was all, safety was number one, and it was very important to be safe. And so, it's gave me a peace of mind that my friend know where I am.
Keeping a
Yeah.
watch for
Yes.
sure. I think
Yeah.
that's important, right? We're like letting
Oh
people
yeah,
know where you're going to be
when I
if you're
travel
solo.
Yeah, when I travel, I do a lot of solo traveling, a lot of solo hiking and backpacking. And my dad and my stepmom, bless their heart, they're always tracking me to make sure they know exactly where I am. And if I'm even 5 minutes late from where they think I should be, I'm getting phone calls.
Yeah.
So it's really comforting to know that people, one, care about your safety, and two, care enough to check on you.
Yeah, no, I have to say I am very, very blessed with amazing support, friend that really I consider, family.
Mm.
I call them my power girls. We are 8 on a text group, and I've been like, I'm living here, I'm on my way, I'm on the road again, and at the beginning was like, my fear or like my concern and things like that. And there, hugs and encouragement. And so it's and
I love
actually last when Wednesday, I invited everyone for dinner. So because I want to celebrate them and I want to thank them. So it was great having them under one roof. Uh,
So are these the friends who were encouraging you to start blogging and writing about your
some of
travels?
them, yes, some of them, yeah.
Yes. So when you started doing that, what was your process? Did you start just sending it to your friends and telling them about it, or did
No,
you start sharing
no,
right away?
from the beginning. So the process is like, so I while I'm hiking, while I'm going, I'm really recording my emotion as they are happening. I'm recording exactly what I'm seeing.
Oh, you're doing it like a voice recording for yourself?
Yes, even though
Wow.
sometimes he doesn't understand my accent. So sometimes I'm like, what did I write here? So it could be
I
challenging, but
love it.
sometimes
I love
I
it.
will stop and I will write.
Mm.
And then I will get to a library. I will sit down in front of my computer
Mhm.
and I have Grammarly. I have a paid Grammarly account.
Love Grammarly. Love
So
the lifesaver.
yes, so
For us dyslexics, very
yes.
good.
And then I don't trust myself because there is like, like example, desert and dessert. I mean, come on. So then my dear friend Eva Marie, that's where I'm staying in her house. She check for another, anything spells or anything incorrect grammars, and then I posted. So you can see, and that's like interesting that if you go back and read from the beginning, you actually see the improvement in my writing.
Mm.
That
Mm.
is actually part of the interesting journey of my writing. Like I do not believe that I wrote that, honestly. I'm like, who's that? So it's
I
still
literally think you could call it I Choose Life, and it's a memoir. I really believe, like, going back through all that, I think you need to find a book coach or somebody who is in the publishing industry, makes sense of all your Facebook posts, and put it together. I think it's so beautiful. I mean, it's
thank
so,
you. So there will be a book because it
yes.
took me 8 months to kind of like really real from the beginning, really. That and so the other day I went and I started reading my first post and like, oh, that's not that way. But from the beginning, women like, oh my God, you're my favorite writer. This is a book. And I'm like, maybe you didn't never read a book before, because I don't know. I really did not know what to do with the compliments. It took me 8 months to realize that there is a message here and I should take
Mhm.
it. And so I will, create a book from it. And I would love to keep actually the post as they are, because this is really the journey. There will be chapter
Great.
1 talking a little bit before that and like writing a little bit before that, but the post is like each one you can see the improvement of my writing,
Mm.
improvement of my growth. I mean, there is just all of that. I did not hide nothing. There was only maybe 2 things that I did not add, and I will edit, later on into it. But very much everything that really went through me, that was it. And I really wrote it to myself. I really wrote it for myself so I can, remember. And because there was too much names and places, too many things that I thought I have a year of doing that. By March, I knew that I need to, I cannot go back and live in a four-wall house. I went on the phone with my financial guy. I went on the phone with Eva Marie and Norman. They're a very dear friend of mine. I needed their blessing. And, I that's it. I need to live on the road. I need to live on now. So the excitement.
So you're going to focus on being a nomad now, basically. Like,
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
love that. So are you actually going to get like a RV so that you can drive it around, or are you going to keep what you've been doing?
All right. So um the original plan was to get an RV. But when the price of gas went up, I was shut down. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
And then I went on a bike ride. Usually my two seats is down. So when I came down from a ride one day, I suddenly look at my space and like, oh wow. I mean, I think I can lay down there. So I lay down and like, wow, this is perfect. I call right away my friend Mike and say, any chance you can help me build it? And 2 months later I went. So, but almost a year I was working on like the idea of going with RV. I even flew to Tampa, to look at the biggest RV show. And I'm so happy that I simplified things and I
Okay,
went
be
slow.
nimble.
Because being small, I have the freedom of travel, but not the comfort. And I don't mind that. But the excitement thing is, yesterday, I
Yeah.
bought a minivan.
Oh, yay! Congratulations.
Thank you. I found my white minivan. And tomorrow I'm going to Mike and we're gonna start the process of the build. So
Retrofitting it. That's
yes.
freaking
That
awesome.
so that I will share. So there is, again, I'm all of this what happening, like being me writer, being me, like people follow me, is all new. I was not planning that. That was not, but it's just happening. So and I put a 5 minutes video of my setup while I was, so it's there. So I would like to give, I probably will do some of the setup so people can learn from it. People can duplicate that, can take ideas and go from there. I have the year been a lot of great experience on my hand. I'm very, very excited to start the build up and
I'm so
I'm
stoked
excited for you. I'm excited
So-
for you. And I was going to say, as you're saying, you're sharing, I think it's so beautiful because as humans, as a community, we get our inspiration from seeing other people do what we didn't think was possible.
Mhm.
And then when we do what we didn't think was possible and we are brave and we set out on a journey, we have no idea where the journey is going to take us. And you have taken this journey and it's led you to this beautiful place where you get to do what kind of sounds like some soul work that you didn't even know
Yeah.
that you had the capacity for, but here you are doing it. And that's so inspiring and beautiful.
So
So
I have a question.
yes.
I always have lots of questions, but I'm a very curious human being. Before you left, because this was a year ago, right? That you started on this venture. I think it really helps if there's a woman listening, if we can touch one woman who is struggling in their marriage, who is struggling in a relationship that they're not happy with, or just maybe unhappy in life in general. What was that first thought for you? Forget like having to go and have the conversations and having to take the legal stuff, and forget like you as a woman in this house that you weren't feeling safe in any longer, and knowing you wanted to do more with you. How long did that process? Was it a year before the year? Was it 3 months? Was it a quick decision?
So, well, just today, if you read from the post that I chose life, I was 99.9 about to commit suicide.
I know.
It really came for me to, or I'm divorcing or I'm committing suicide. There was no, it just was. And the moment my therapist said the word, like, she said, like, Gila, you made a decision 17 years ago. The decision 17 years ago was to stay in my marriage.
Mm.
And she said, maybe it's about time you make another decision. And I knew exactly what I need to do. I've been said a lot of time that I'm a strong person. The only time that I can tell you that I felt my strength was that second I took my leg off that uh, gas pedal. It took so much, so much out of me. And I didn't want to. And, if you think, I really didn't want to commit suicide. It was just like, it was just took over me. I was like just drawn in my own depression. And I'm usually a happy person. That was, I think, for a long time. And no one knew. And that's the dangerous about, and this is why we need to talk about those feelings. No one even had a clue. We looked like the most amazing, happy family. And it was, as a family, it was a great, but I was dying and dying every day, more and more. And no one knew that. And that is where the danger is for other women. And this is why it was important to me to share that because I know I'm not the only one. And there was like, so one thing that really was, so I was a volunteer ambulance driver for 4 years in my town in Mahwah, New Jersey. And I injured my back, so I couldn't continue doing that. But few months before I had to stop, my volunteering, I usually on every Monday, I was from 9 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, I was on call. My boss was letting me ride from work, and if I had to catch up on hours, will be a long day for me on a Monday. And I was so proud wearing those uniform every Monday. It was I was like, if I ever went out of my comfort zone, that was it. Being a volunteer ambulance driver, that responsibility was more than anything I actually did. And there was only one time that he asked me to take myself off of the schedule by 1 o'clock because he needed to go. And I did, and I kept the radio on, and there was a call, like 1:15, around at that time, there was a call for someone attempting suicide. I know the language enough to know that that was not attempt, that was a suicide. 2 days later, I learned that I knew the family.
Gosh.
I have to say, I don't know if I would able to handle that call if I had to go. It's almost like someone stopped me off going through that trauma. But I always think about if I wrote that just before, if she was able to read that, the young lady was able to read my post, what will be the difference in her, where she will be today?
So my question then is, how do we help women who might be feeling this way, but like there's no signal unless it's a dear, like even your closest friends didn't know. Like, so are we just at the mercy of you guys in that emotional state that we just pray that you tell somebody or that you, God, I mean, what got you to the therapy? I mean, I love that you had this therapist. She sounds amazing.
No, I started therapy because I needed to deal with my abusive childhood. That's
Gotcha.
really what was, what I was going. I knew that it's not good. I know that I did not want to pass any trauma to my boys. I know that I need to work on my own for not to do that. So that was the therapist, that was more about that. So we need to educate women. I mean, I have in when I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico, I had a vision, and I hope maybe one day I will be able to do that, to create a nonprofit organization that will be very much like a campground that will empower women to talk about emotion, teach about, all it's all there. Brené Brown did all the research. So many other people, it's there. We need to just take it and educate ourselves about it. To the moment we can understand more about who we are and what we feel, it's much easier to deal with those hard emotions.
But how do we get these women to feel strong enough in in literally the darkest moments of their days? How do we empower them to feel safe when they don't even, you don't feel safe with yourself at that point? It's like,
Mm.
I mean, that's where I get stuck because I reach out to friends, but God, like, I don't know, like when I get off the phone with them, if they're not willing to be vulnerable and really share that they're really in a bad place, other than me driving over there to literally hold their hand, what else can we do?
And that's why I posted what I posted.
So just keep sharing. It's just,
And the response that I got, some of it privately, was wow, 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 wow.
Well, I know for me, I'm just going to share a little bit vulnerability here. For me, I know after my first child was born, at 3 months of age, for her, I had severe postpartum depression and anxiety. And I had a moment on the Oregon coast where I was scared of my own thoughts and I was scared to be alone with my child. And I was solo camping with her. And that was one of the darkest nights of my life that I didn't know if I was going to make it through that night. And that's the moment when I realized something is wrong. This is not how a new mother should feel. And I sought out help. And so then when I read your post, it's so needed for women to speak about this. We need to talk about it more because especially for new mothers too, like postpartum health should be so much more than going to see a doctor at 6 weeks and filling out a form saying I have baby blues. You know, there's so much that needs to happen for women's mental health as a community, and it takes speaking out about it.
Yeah, I'm so grateful you do because, yeah, I mean, just as someone who would absolutely want to be there for my dearest friends or even just a woman I don't even know, I would hold space for that, you know? It's just a matter of you know, the challenge is they have to make that choice. Like I love it because you said you chose life. You decided and chose life and then chose a whole new direction. I mean, 5 years ago, Gila, would you even think of yourself on the open road, you
No.
know, Highway 66 in the middle of the country or at Glacier National Park, standing there just looking at this in awe and just being like, I cannot believe I got myself here. Like, did you have a lot of those moments?
Well, very. I mean, like, you know, like,
Pinch me, right?
no, absolutely pinch me. I mean, there was like place. It's funny. It's like a lot of that time was when I was brushing my teeth with my electric toothbrush. I don't know if it was like the
The
electric.
one comfort, right? The one luxury comfort that you brought.
Yes, you know, like, and it's like, wow, and look where I am doing it. It was like just like,
Brushing your teeth at the Grand Canyon.
yes, 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 yes. Yeah, you know, like I was like in Canada in Vancouver Island in Butt Lake.
I love
Very rustic,
love it.
very
Easy.
basic, nothing. And it's just like, you know, wow. It's just like, wow, there's nothing, you know, I don't need more than that. I don't need more than that. It's, you know, and I got to a place, I never understood when people say that they love themselves, it's like comfortable with themselves. I never understood that. Only like, you know, I would say like 6 months into it, 8 months into my journey, I was starting, this is what I'm saying, I'm absolutely dating myself. And it's beautiful. And it's like, you know, the first like healthy relationship.
No, but I mean, you say that in a sort of half, you know, kidding way, but it is true. Like I took myself out for sushi last night. Like I'm totally dating myself right now, you know, because I got divorced last year as well. And yeah, I mean, all three of us have actually gone through divorces around the similar time frame, which is fascinating. But the self-love piece is the piece. And however we get there, funny enough, all three of us find nature to be the core of our health journey. And I mean that from emotionally as well as physically, because they go hand in hand when you start to heal and forgive and find gratitude in brushing your teeth underneath whatever tree. And you're just looking around and the air smells different when you start to love yourself, right? And you
Yeah, no,
start to
really, it's like, I don't know even how to explain that.
you're reborn. You're almost reborn in a sense.
So it's interesting because I just post another post, and I through this journey I was talking about the old me and the new me.
Oh, I love this.
And then, at the dinner, we were laughing. We had a blast. And Eva Marie was saying something. She said, but we loved you before even you left us. Kind of like you're the same, like we love you the same before. There was no different. And the next day, I went on a hike. And it really, like I when I go to a hike, that's what I love. I go into La La Land. There
Yep.
is just like, just a beautiful space. And it was one of my favorite hikes and where I live here. And I realized that there is no old me or new me. There is improved me. I am the same person. I did not really change. I just really improved my own soul and my own self, and by doing a lot of hard work, not giving up, knowing that I want to find that peace in my heart, that softness in me. It was there. I just I didn't have the space. I didn't have the time or the, I had the responsibility that it was, I couldn't even concentrate on myself. And now I had it, and I took all the opportunity and all the time to do that, but it was not easy. It was not an easy process.
Now that hike near your house,
Mm-hmm.
had you done that prior to your trip for part of your training? And it's a twofold. And if it's a second time or the third time you've done that trail, does it look differently to you now than it did?
It's an interesting question because, so first of all, I was not training for this because I'm a hiker. I always been hiking a few times.
Well, you were in the Israeli army, right?
Yeah, but we're
You're
talking
bad,
about so
but
many
you're a
years ago.
badass. You're still a
Yeah.
badass.
I was a map maker.
You were a map maker?
Yes, I was actually
I'm obsessed with maps. Okay, well, we're
Yeah,
gonna
me too.
have another
Yeah.
conversation on
I
that.
had a very interesting position in the army, and I was very glad. But that was back when most women was doing secretary, and I was able to do that. So I was very, very happy with that.
The more we're talking, the more I'm like, you are such a fascinating person. I want to know more.
That's right. That's what this conversation, I just am so jazzed about it. So go back to this day of that hike, that local
Okay, so
trail.
first of all, I was driving, I was getting closer and closer to home. That was 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. And I was like, what I'm going to feel? It's been a year. Because every time we used to go to Israel, 2 weeks, we'll come back. There is that feel like, that a home. I'm driving closer, like nothing. I'm driving closer, there's nothing. I even go to my apartment. I'm renting my apartment fully furnished. So you cannot even say like, this is not me. I'm going and I'm, sitting with Wendy and like catching up with her. And this is not me. I don't feel it belong to me. I'm like, okay. And I have a conversation with my friend Jenny, and I said, like, what's that? What's going on here? It's like, oh, that's perfect. There's no conflict here. I'm like, oh yeah, no conflict. I know where you belong. And then I was very, very busy the first few days, just unpacking but I have to go for a hike. I every few days, if I'm not in nature, it's just not healthy for me. And I go to Ramapo Reservation, like 4 miles from here. And as I drive closer, I'm home. And then when I went for the hike, on Thursday, that my favorite hike in Harriman State Park, even though like it was a year, it just felt like I was just there yesterday. It felt
Mhm.
again home. So for me, home is in the woods, it's in the wild. It's not none of that. And the
Well,
only thing that's still,
because guess what? Home is
Mm,
where you stand
yeah, yeah,
because you found home within yourself.
mm-hmm, yeah,
That's the whole purpose of a self-love, self-care journey and us normalizing this more for not just women. I mean, for the collective, men, women, I think finding love within yourself and creating a home within you, your home no matter where you are.
right, right.
Yeah.
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 So, no, so this is why I'm so excited to be soon. I don't want to rush the build up. I want to do it right. And um,
So you're going to be staying at your friend's house while you're doing this retrofit of this new awesome minivan that you
yeah,
got.
yeah.
And what's the first place you're going to drive off to?
Okay, so it's interesting because, like, first of all, originally, I was heading to Alaska.
Hmm.
Yeah, but in February, I think it was February, I was in Arizona, and I was visiting my friend Gina, and then I decided that I will take like 8, 10 days
By
by
the
my.
way, you have another friend here in Arizona. I live in Phoenix.
Oh, okay, yes,
So we're gonna go for a hike when you come through next, okay?
okay. And that's what I did. I wanted until Arizona, everything was scheduled. I had a
Mm,
reservation, everything was boom, 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 boom. And I really wanted to experience living like with no plans. So
mm.
I drove, I knew that I'm driving to Phoenix, not Phoenix, Tucson, Bisbee, that direction, and no reservation, no nothing. I'm just going to go and see where it's going. And I just love the spontaneous of it. It was amazing. At one point, I thought to go, after Bisbee, I thought I would go, drive to more toward the east, but there was a snowstorm. Well, what happening in the west? Great, Oregon National Monument. I'll go there, and and I realized that I'm putting Alaska too much. I'm putting on my plate too many things. I am not here to check, I'm here, I've been here, I'm there for the experience. And so I let that go. So Alaska somehow still, I don't know, even though when I was so excited and I worked on over a year on it, I'm not ready for that yet. But I really, a lot of time, every time I was traveling and I was saying, yes, I'm going to Canada and Alaska, a lot of people, Newfoundland, you have to go to Newfoundland. So that is kind of and I call it a soft plan. My idea is like, if I'm living here around November, December, to follow slowly toward the west, but take those few months and keep it like look for like house sitting, like to keep my budget low, house sitting, boondocking, things like that, in the warmer area if I can, and concentrate on writing my book.
Mm, mm.
And around April, May, I want to be back in Canada in more the west, like I'm not sure, like maybe the Jasper area,
Loved
because
it.
I love it was
Cool.
absolutely gorgeous, but I want to see the same area with the snow on top of the mountains. That for me, it's like I melt with this kind
Literally is
of
heaven on earth, isn't it?
yes, yes, yes. And a
Bam.
lot of time, I mean,
Area.
knowing from here that when I hike, I actually hike only 3 seasons. I cannot hike in the summer, too hot. I kayak, I bike in the summer, but I don't. But even this 3 season, even though I go to the same trail sometime, different season have a different look, a different feel. So
Mhm.
I want to go from the west of Canada to the east of Canada. That will put me back again in the east part, because every September I really need to go and do my annual checkups and make sure everything was good. Oh, on that note, I have the best blood work ever. And every doctor that I've been going for the last week and a half, they're like, whoa, whatever you're doing, keep doing. So I got a green light to go back into the wild.
They got
So
the doctor's stamp of approval.
yes.
I love this. I love your journey. And I'm so grateful that you chose life, honestly,
Thank
because
you.
you have so much to give and so much to share. And I'm really thankful that you took some time, that we caught you, in your off season at the moment, and this new exciting adventure ahead of you. And again, I absolutely want to hike with you somewhere. So
Okay.
we'll go offline and we'll figure out, once it's built, I'll meet you somewhere for sure.
Okay. That is one of the things that, if you read the beginning, I was expecting lonely time. But the friendship that I built through this journey is beyond anything. I mean, really, unbelievable. I know that I already have like invitation on different states, come
Mhm.
and visit, come and stay, come and,
Oh, I got a hot shower for you anytime you're on the road and you need to stop over. Yeah,
Come through
so,
Oregon, same.
exactly.
so it just, and I love that. That part is just, I cherish very much. And I have to say, they are part of my healing, their journey, their story, able me to see other people pain and recovery, or how they, and I'm learning from that. A lot of time I learn not from a person, like what they doing or not doing, let's say this way. I had a beautiful friendship with a friend that fell apart a few years ago. But learning from seeing how she created her own misery by sticking so much to her ego
Mhm.
made me even more work on myself to let go of my ego. I mean, the day I decided to get divorced, I also decided to let go of my ego. That's first of all. I didn't have a big one before that, but, and I think that's really what opened more and more my creative mind in the space in me. Letting that of that ego. It is not going to let you go nowhere when you stick to that.
Can I
Oh,
read that last little part of that post just before we 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 may say goodbye? But so this is in Gila's words. Please give yourself the life that you deserve. It's in your hands to make it or break it. Please don't let that voice in your head take it away from you. Please reach out for help and create your own journey of love and happiness. I've been getting chills through the whole thing, by the way.
But it is, I think that's is the, I think I will say, the one of the main message I would like to women to know, and any men, um, that it is, like it is our responsibility. I never believed in pointing fingers. I never believed in blaming other people for my pain. Um, I always believe that it's up to me to make that healing journey. Only I am responsible for that. And I think the moment you understand that, take that on your hand, then you can reach for a higher happiness in your life.
I mean,
Beautiful.
what else we're going to say to that? I mean, nothing except for thank you for today. Thank you for this
Thank you
conversation.
so much. Thank you
Yeah,
so
my
much for
pleasure.
spending your time with us and sharing.
I think we all need this. Like, we all need a little bit
Yeah,
of Gila. Like,
this filled my cup. Thank you.
Yeah.
I literally can't wait to hug you. Like, I'm dying over here. I can't wait to give you a hug.
Well,
I'm,
now I need to put Phoenix on my map.
or we go back, or Sedona, or wherever. I mean, I'll meet you.
Oh, okay.
I'll meet you in Utah again. We have a place in
I
Utah.
will come down too. Tell me
Okay.
when and where.
All right.
We're
Sounds
gonna make
good.
it happen. So hold on one second, and I really want to say thank you so very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.